internet. Welcome back, and we're back into the arena. After a few games of Octopath Traveler, I've been just trying to take off the stress and the stagnacity, if that's a thing, the stagnancy of me continuous playing Magic the Gathering. The next expansion is still in October, sometime end of September, and I don't want to burn myself out playing Magic. There's only so much you can do within a single, what do you call it, block or a set or expansion, whatever you call it. But there is a lot of interesting events going on in Magic right now, and we will be making videos of those as well for your entertainment. So for our first comeback from the dead, from our revival, we have Dimir Control. Dimir Control plays pretty much how you expect it to be, just like in any other control deck, and we will be playing a few best of 3 series games in ranked, just to showcase how well these decks perform in my current rank, which is Diamond 3. So we have, to start off, we have opt 4 of these so that we can draw some, so we can sort of help ourselves draw into the cards. Most of the time, from my experience, I don't really gain these ops too often, but when you do, it's nice to have that scry and draw ability. Then we have negate, just a sort of a just in case. And the search for Scanta, which is pretty much a must for all control decks. You should at least have 1 or 2, unless of course you have provisioned otherwise. Cast down 2, just in case we need it, of course, in our sideboard if we actually need something more aggressive, something if we notice that our opponent has more legendaries in their hand, we can always go for Noxious Grasp. If our opponent is playing a lot of greens or white cards, and it's a lot more flexible than Cast down because it allows us to target the planeswalkers or creatures, and then we can also gain 1 life. We have Legion's End, the game's form of the Thanos Snap, which has brought us a lot of fun with this with this card in play. It's another removal that wherein it's a removal where you get the value immediately with the removal of the card, just taking it out of the board. But if you can additionally gain the other aspects that it does, because what it does is it removes a card that's already on the board, and then if your opponent has a additional one in their hand, it also exiles that one. That is to say, it has to cost 2 mana or less. Then we have Elder Spell, because since War, a lot of decks have a lot of planeswalkers in there. Plus, it is also a good combo that you can sacrifice your Narset or even your Eugene into your Liliana for that ultimate -9, and just gain the complete advantage against your opponent by maybe destroying the entire board, getting rid of all the lands on their board. Then we have Thought Erasure, because of course with any blue-black card deck, any deck that contains blue or black, you want Thought Erasure. There's Narset to help us draw more cards, keep us fueled, and at the same time, if the opportunity presents itself, we can use it to sacrifice into Liliana if we are just missing, so that we can sort of trigger the ultimate that Liliana has immediately. Then there's Cry of Carnarium and Ritual Suit, which will help us with those go wide creatures, Risen Reef maybe, or the vampire decks that aren't very big at the start. Then we have God Eternal Kefnet, which is a very hard creature to deal with. At the same time, allows you to duplicate any cards that you draw from your library, and it costs 2 less if it's a sorcery or instant spell. Then we have Frascus Contempt to combat against any of the enemy's planeswalkers, and a Cavalier of Gales for the additional draw. And it is also in some ways similar to God Eternal Kefnet, where it is also a hard card to deal with, because except with the exception of Exile, Cavalier of Gales, when it dies, just shuffles back right into your library, and it allows you to scry, a very valuable card to have in this deck. Enter the God Eternals is one of those flip moments where you want to gain life, have a creature on the board to block things, and at the same time mill your opponent out of their top decks. Then there's a Liliana, of course, for the +1 loyalty, which creates a black zombie creature token, or you can sacrifice 2 creatures, make each player sacrifice 2 creatures, and Eugene, of course, for the -3 and the additional draw card with that +1 loyalty ability. In our sideboard, we have Duress for those control decks or spell heavy, when our opponent is filled with instant speed or sorcery speed spells. We have Aether Gust, which most of the time we don't really use, but it's nice to have in there if you need it. Noxious Grasp, as we've already explained earlier, is a better version of Cast Down if the opportunity presents it, because not all the time will we be up against green or white cards. Ashiok Dreamrender is amazing if you just want to go for the memes, or if we're up against a Sultai Scapeshift or Bant Scapeshift deck. Ashiok just shuts them down and slows down their progress towards Field of the Dead. Unmoored Ego is another counter to the Scapeshift deck archetype, and at the same time it's also a great shutdown for pretty much any deck if you think about it. In our play, in the gameplay, you'll be able to see that I've used it against the fairies, both big and small, the Chandras, the Ashioks. We've used it there. Very nice card to have if you think that your opponent is filled with these very huge threats in their library. Ritual Suit, if you need an additional board wipe, if you think that your opponent just doesn't seem to get run out of tokens to put on the board or creatures to put on the board and just goes massively wide. Command the Dreadhorde is most of the time we don't really use Command the Dreadhorde, but if we can, we will, because we have Enter the God Eternals and Vraska's Contempt. This allows us to heal a bunch of times. We also have Noxious Grasp, so if you can manage to put that in alongside these other two and have Command the Dreadhorde come out, you can use it to either play your cards, your planeswalkers, or you can use it to play your opponent's cards and just make them have a taste of their own medicine. So that's it for this intro. We're going to go into gameplay. It is pretty easy. I see. Found it. Okay. I do want a thought erasure just to check out what he has. Or are we Legions in? There's a 10th district, and there's a God's Willing. That's pretty interesting. And then he's also got Feather the Redeemed. Turn 3. I think he got his Feather. And if he decides to put down that 10th District Legionnaire, I guess we have to. Oh, that's good. So he's decided he uses Defiant Strike. He wants to gain the damage. Probably looking for another feather there. 2 reds. Okay. Doesn't have the white. Taking that away alongside with his other 10th district legionnaire. And now he has nothing to cast. I do want to save this thought erasure for a potential feather or something. Down to Vanguard. And this backwater or whatever, we can take out that God's Willing. No problem. Not really that important. There's an opt. We'll be able to do 3 damage. Put this up there. I think he's drawing into lands. We can draw into this. There's another allegiance, and frankly, I don't think we really need anymore. There's a watery grave. You can try Carnarium. You can just stop the whole damage thing. We do have this. That tablet. Down the Lilia.
Good help is easy to find in war.
So he can probably lava coil. It's not gonna do much. There's a feather. Ah, okay. So there comes the lava. Not a problem. Thank you. 2, 3, 4. Plus this. Return.
Rise.
Alright, so we're back. Let's see. So he does have a few whites. I think I'd prefer the ritual suits over those. I do think I want Unmoored ego in replace for, I want 3 of those of this opt. Dress, I don't know. Elder spell, it doesn't look like he's gonna have any like elder spells, but we do need something to, we have Unmoored ego in case he does have like you know, I don't think elder spell's gonna be much too useful for us here. I mean, we could like Narset elder spell, right? So I think that's pretty okay, but I do like the idea of having duress. But I don't know. I honestly don't know yet. We can do this. God, stop dropping frames. Ooh, hey. Pretty deadly. Pretty deadly start off. Goes off with the Temple of Triumph. We'll start off with, oh, we get Elder Spell already. We have the Drowned Catacombs for that thought, nice little thought creature. Then we have the turn 3 Search for a Scar, just to fill in a bit of space. He's got Legion War Boss, but I do want to get rid of this feather. If I have Carnarium, I won't I won't disagree to that. Even if he decides to put down his Legion War Boss, easily deal with 5 Carnarium. Really problem for us. I'm not be able to, at least we're turn by turn countering our opponent. Probably has the feather, but I think he's gonna put it down at right now. So probably no. I do want to put the backwater land in there. Without a Search for Escanta. And the main reason why we decided to put in more Ritual Suit is for this very reason, that he, for instance, is able to, only has one problem. We'll graveyard that for now. I think we need more utility in our arsenal. Yep, not that. Yep, not that. But I guess, well, we can't use Rust's Contempt for the main reason that it does have okay, I'm gonna put 2 in that for sure. Do 2 damage. Oh, he's gonna add more, so it's gonna be 3. He has God's Willing. Protect him. Search for a Santa. Another land will bin it, but since we have Narset, I think I kinda like it.
I train everything. No, keep an
Will also
open
help
mind.
us sort of bin out a few things. We got Ghana, and I guess that's a pass on our part. And turn. Is he gonna go after my Narset? I'm still waiting for that feather, for the feather drop. Has it?
This is
I'm
overwhelming.
going to ignore my Narset. Oh, okay. Oh, so he's gonna use the shock. That's sad. Don't do much until I actually grab into. Oh, this is pretty nice. Cavalier of Gales. Will not complain about this. The Narset will prevent him from being able to draw anything. There we are. So we have enough. I don't think Vraska's Contempt is going to be very useful to us, but I do want to keep it there. We can put back Allegiance, and I do want to remain on the Vigilant, though. Chase we can. Now we have a blocker. Although he can just use God's Willing, prevent me from blocking, and he can do an additional what, 3? Reckless MP. If he attacks, block. Does that go first? Oh, it does go first. Well, if it dies, it just goes back. There's another land, and there's another Narset. Goes back to my library. Here he goes for 3. Okay. Well, they are starting to become a problem. And do this now. I can Liliana.
If I were you,
Sacrifice
I'd
whatever
just
that is.
surrender right now. From battle to the grave.
Elder Spell is a sorcery. I don't like the idea of him being able to. That is like 1. We do have plenty of Lilianas. Is he going to?
I will rise again.
Gets exiled. There goes the Liliana, and there goes the decree. That it, not that it really net him much. But, oh, I'm not afraid of that feather. I can just Ritual Moot, and I can Narset, put that down.
I have practiced against many
I really hope I can get like an
Just the trick
Unmoored
for this.
something. Enter the God's Journals. No more land. We are good with the land. There's the Unmoored Ego.
With thoughtfulness before action.
There's a negate to help us. And yep, there he goes. Felt that. Downfall will go real quickly. How could you